we decided to cut the deposit facility rate by 25 basis points. And that was a unanimous decision. We proceeded as we normally do and have very clearly indicated by obviously looking at data and looking in particular at data through the prism of our three key criteria. So, when you look at the incoming information, it confirms our previous projections and it comforts us in our confidence that we are heading towards our target in a timely manner. So, during the course of 25 in particular, inflation will decline towards our 2% target. And we thought that, given that gradual disinflationary process, it was perfectly appropriate to moderate the degree of monetary policy restriction by cutting our deposit facility rate, which I will call the DFR, if you don't mind. From now on, it's the deposit facility rate, by 25 basis points. When I said that we looked at all the information that we get on the occasion of a projection exercise through our three prisms, I'm referring obviously to the inflation outlook, I'm referring to the underlying inflation, and I'm referring to the transmission of monetary policy. And, on the inflation outlook, when we receive the projections of our staff for September, it's virtually unchanged relative to June for the inflation outlook. And it continues to see a return to 2% before the end of 25. And this is, by the way, the 5 consecutive projection exercise pointing to that 2% at the end of 25. So why do I say that? Because it certainly reinforces our confidence in the solidity and robustness of those projections. That's for the first prism, the inflation outlook. The underlying inflation, on the other hand, we look at the various indicators that we have, from domestic to PCCI, and here we see one particular indicator, the domestic indicator, which is abating a little bit because it moved from 4.5 to 4.4 between June and July, and it is not satisfactory. It is resistant, it is persistent. This is the reason why we have to be resilient in our approach and very attentive to the various components of core inflation as measured by those various indicators. The third prism is the policy transmission. And on that front, we all observe that the financing conditions continue to be restrictive, and the footprint of our monetary policy in the real economy has been visible. So, on the basis of that review of incoming data, staff analysis, consistency of the projections for the 5th exercise in a row, that decision to cut by 25 basis points was perfectly legitimate and, as I said, unanimously decided. I drink to the future. Well, future, I'm tempted to quote, Spanish, que será, será. Because we have consistently said, and we repeat again, that we shall remain data dependent. And that is particularly justified in view of the uncertainty that abounds. So we shall be data dependent. We shall decide meeting by meeting. And our path, of which the direction is pretty obvious, a declining path, is not predetermined, neither in terms of sequence nor in terms of volume. And I would like to add one thing which I have already said before, which is still true, which is that data dependency does not mean data point dependency. We're not going to be fixated on one single number. We are looking at a whole battery of indicators. And I'm saying that in particular because September will certainly deliver a low reading of inflation. Very likely. We expect, because of the base effect, particularly on energy, our inflation numbers to be up in the fourth quarter, so the last 3 months of 24, but September is going to deliver a low reading. But we're not just looking at one indicator. We're looking at a whole range of data that we receive.
Thank you, Madame Lagarde.